I'll leave that to our meteorologists. We have two of them here, which has been great all morning, and Ella Dorsey and Rodney Harris. We've been keeping an eye on that, and yeah, so I guess that's probably who we should start with, right?
So Ella, you were telling us that we really this could be a concern for us through midday.
Yes, I think that the greatest concern is right now. Okay, that's the worst of it is happening right now. But for Metro Atlanta, we're going to continue to see rain, the potential for flash flooding, and the potential for brief tornadoes, which, by the way, we've seen all morning through midday today. Tropical depression Fred made landfall just east of Panama City as a strong tropical storm yesterday evening. It is now weakened to the depression and it is moving into Georgia. It will move directly through us over here in North Georgia over the coming hours, crossing in North Carolina by around 2 or 3 p.m. today. And you can see the heaviest of the rain is actually displaced to the north and east of this system. It's moving through Metro Atlanta right now. Here's the radar loop over the last hour. Yeah, it is just pouring down rain from Atlanta and Metro over through Gainesville and down through Eatonton. You see this, I would call it a squall, a little line of very heavy showers, which extends from Douglas County now down into Eatonton. This is the inner wall of this storm that has been spawning tornadoes, and that's what we're going to watch as that lifts up to the north. So for all of Metro Atlanta and East Georgia, that's where we could see tornadoes. Very heavy rain now falling in Eatonton, into the northern Jasper County, all the way up into Athens. Clark County is very heavy across Metro, very heavy rain falling in Henry County, up into Cobb County. So really, as you're coming in from the north side now, that's where the worst of the rain was. It was on the south side all morning. It is now from Atlanta and Metro up to the north of the city, complete washout into Cobb County right now. But heavy rain continues to fall in Heard County up through West Georgia as well. So as you head out the door, what do you need to know? Well, you got to give yourself extra time on the roadways. We are going to see that heavy rain last at least through midday, but flash flooding is possible through the entire afternoon today with 2 to 5 inches of rain likely. Temperatures are in the low 70s. They'll actually hover there all through the afternoon. So you're not going to need the AC, but again, you are going to need your patience on the roadways. That tornado watch again extends from Atlanta and Metro off to the east. This includes Hall County until 1 p.m. I think they'll probably extend this up into the mountains here in the next couple of hours, but this is the area where we're going to watch for brief tornadoes. And we saw about 4 or 5 brief spin-up tornadoes since midnight in Georgia. Each of them produced damage. A couple of even confirmed tornadoes on the ground, so be aware of that. In addition to that, flash flooding is really likely from North Metro up through the mountains. This is the area that's going to continue to see rain pretty much through the entire day today. So about a 50% chance of flash flooding in this area. So the flash flood watch is out through the day today. This extends through the night tonight. Even after the rain ends, you could continue to see flash flooding with the rivers and creeks and streams continuing to rise. We're going to watch for tornadoes. And again, for Metro, the heavy rain will start to taper after about 1 p.m. In addition to all of the weather, we've actually had a lot of trouble on the roads. Rodney, can you give us a quick update on what's happening outside right now on the roadways?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, before I even get to that, Ella, just to give you a little bit of update in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't really matter because we're right in it, but they did just cancel the wind advisory for all of North Georgia. So outside of the rain, that wind threat is diminishing, as Ella mentioned, as this quickly starts to move toward the north and west. So an extended look at your traffic here this morning. We're not on a time limit, so we can really kind of go through everything here. This is 285 southbound at Cascade Road. We're still seeing some delays as you go southbound toward Atlanta Airport, but this is much better than it was about 10 minutes ago. We had a crash that had some serious delays on the southwest side of town, but that has gotten better. I want to take you now to DeKalb County. We had a crash earlier on I-20 westbound at Candler Road. Just got a new report in of a spin out in the same area. So if you're in Lithonia or if you're in DeKalb County, and you typically take I-20 westbound into downtown Atlanta, you will be a little bit delayed. I just got that report in, so it's not even on the traffic map yet. But again, that's I-20 westbound at Candler Road, a spin out reported there. Just south of there, south of Gresham Park, you were looking at 285 as you head toward the Fulton County area. That's 285 westbound at Boulder Crest, where we have a crash that's going to slow you down as well. And as we zoom out here on the pinpoint traffic map, we are also seeing some delays as you leave Marietta, some very brief delays. We had some issues earlier this morning on I-75 southbound around Delk Road. So as you can see, you're leaving Marietta. There's a little bit of orange there right before you hit Delk Road around the Marietta Parkway area. So it heads up to you in Cobb County. Gwinnett County, you're in great shape this morning. Great shape in terms of crashes. Obviously, you're seeing rain, so we do ask you to avoid getting on the roads. But I-85 at the moment is clear of any crashes. Through 16 is also clear of any crashes. And Clayton and Henry counties are looking like they're some of the better counties right now in terms of traffic because the heavier rain is moving away from you, so you're not even seeing as much rain. And we are also crash-free on the south side of town, at least in Henry County, where I-75 is in good shape. I'm going to zoom in, though, to North Clayton County. It looks like we may have some small delays on I-75 northbound, right around Forest Parkway, right before you hit Atlanta Airport. So that's kind of an overview of what we are looking at traffic-wise. As Ella mentioned, south of I-20, it looks like the rain is not as heavy, so that's going to start to improve. But north of I-20, especially for those of you in Cobb, North Fulton counties, Roswell, Alpharetta, you're going to continue to see that heavy rain. So again, if you can, try to stay off the roads. I want to kind of reiterate something that Ella had mentioned earlier. Normally when we see these tornado warnings, we have to wait a while after the damage, and then we kind of confirm the tornado. Almost every tornado warning that we have seen this morning has come with damage, which is unbelievable. So Gavir, Rob, we've been able to confirm these tornadoes pretty much right out of the gate.
Yeah, and Rodney, you're right. Coweta County, Meriwether, those are some of the areas got a lot of power outages. So those of you that are watching us via Facebook Live, we're glad we can do that because some of you may not have power at home.
Yeah, with the ability to watch on Facebook Live and our mobile app, it's really important to have both of those available to you because you don't know when you're going to need to leave your TV. It's certainly nice to be able to watch that as things develop. And you mentioned Meriwether County, and that's where we have been reporting from with Trace and Bragg all morning long.
That's right, Rob. Well, you guys mentioned power outages. Well, I'm standing on Charlie Fuller Road here in Meriwether County, and take a look at that power line. I'm bringing it up because folks here are lucky to have power because one of the trees just beyond these bushes actually fell during a tornado that ran right through this street here. One of those trees actually fell on top of that power line right there. It took power crews, I'd say about 20 or 30 minutes to cut it down, and it continued to fall. There was a lot of weight on that power line, but luckily that power line is still standing. Luckily, it's been safe. There's been no reports of any injuries here. I will say it started raining pretty steadily for the last hour or so here. We've seen traffic start to pick up along Charlie Fuller Road. Again, please drive slowly in these conditions. We have wet roads. We have debris out here on the road. Take a look behind me. You can see branches still out here on the road. And this, I'll tell you, this is a pretty windy road, so you don't know what you're going to find as you turn a corner. So please, if you're in this area of Meriwether County, please drive slowly and be aware because, again, a confirmed tornado touchdown right here. I'd say about, well, right before 5 o'clock is when it actually touched down. We're going to continue to stay out here and track the damage. You can count on CBS 46 to get you that information first. Reporting live in Meriwether County, I'm Trace Bragg, CBS 46 News.
Trayson, thanks. I saw that truck going by, but hopefully slowly. We've got Sabrina Silva out and about too.
Yeah, and we've been seeing these shots all morning long. We're just now starting to see the light of day.
Right.
So what we're seeing there with Trayson and now we're about to see with Sabrina might not even be coming to light until right about now. So if you are out there driving, be careful right now. We want to send it out to Sabrina Silva, who's seeing similar issues where she's at. Sabrina, what exactly are you seeing?
Yeah, well, actually, if you were watching our broadcast earlier on today, there was a tree blocking this roadway here. This is Coleman Creek Circle, and this is in Luthersville, Georgia. And they just now opened the roadway out here for traffic. Crews were here for about 20-25 minutes removing that tree that fell onto this road. And there's a lot of homes in this area. We have yet to see any damage to these homes. That's the only damage that we've seen so far, but they were very quick to respond this morning. We got here about 5:30 in the morning and that tree was down. I would say until now, they've been clearing it up and it's now gone. But as Trayson was mentioning here in Meriwether County, there's been a lot of rain coming down and wind's been on and off, but that's all the damage that we're seeing over here. Now, we're going to continue to bring you updates from this county and from this area as we continue to learn more. We're going to check in to see where there's other damage, but they have cleared this area up. Back to you.
Sabrina, thanks a lot. Of course, that's damage there. Closer into town, you know, one area that always gets flooded is the Krog Street Tunnel.
Yeah.
When we get a lot of rain.
And it's not predictable to know where the damage is going to occur,
Right.
or at least, as predictable as the widespread rain that we knew we were going to see. And as you mentioned, the Krog Street Tunnel is kind of a notorious place for potential, ponding and puddles and even flooding. And that's where we find Rebecca Schramm, and she's been there all morning long. I know it wasn't too bad earlier. Is it an increase in rain there?
Yeah, we definitely are seeing the rain coming down, Robin Gravier, as we're watching here from the Krog Street area, DeKalb Avenue. Rain coming down this morning as cars headed to work, headed to school this morning. But yeah, as we look here at the Krog Street Tunnel, of course, it's known for its street art. You see the graffiti all over, but yeah, it also sometimes floods. Well, as you see the cars coming through here now, there is definitely some puddling, but we're really not seeing any severe flooding at this point. At times they've had to shut down the Krog Street Tunnel because of flooding. At the moment, though, it looks good. Looks like they have the storm drains clear. That is something that the watershed management folks have really been keeping an eye on these last 24 hours or so, as they have known that Tropical Storm Fred and now the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred are coming through Atlanta and the Atlanta area. So yeah, they've been watching for this. They've been trying to clear out the storm drains. We are watching again as the rain continues to come down. Want you to be careful this morning as you're out and about, because you will come across some puddling in the usual spots that flood. So be careful as you're headed to work this morning. Reporting live, here's Rebecca Schramm. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Rebecca, thanks a bunch. I think Rob and I were both talking about that this morning. I know coming in on 400 for me, there's one particular spot that even when we're not getting the kind of rain we're getting today, can cause some issues.
I saw cars leaving one lane wide open. It was not the furthest right lane. It was one of the, and 75 South, as you know, has a lot of lanes of traffic. But there was one lane that clearly cars were avoiding. I turned into that lane because there were some cars going really slowly to pass my way into work. And since it hadn't been driven in, a lot of rain on the roadway there, and it certainly made my tires slip. And so that's just something you got to be careful about, even if it doesn't look bad like what we're seeing there at Krog Street.
So Ella, the radar behind us all morning's been kind of lit up. So what can you tell us about what's going on right now?
Let's break it down area by area, okay? I want to talk about a very strong thunderstorm in Putnam County. There is a significant weather advisory for the next 10 minutes for Putnam County. This is the band of storms that's been producing spawn tornadoes all morning. There is an enhanced risk of a tornado in the Eatonton area over the next 10 minutes. This will move into Walton and Morgan County, so be aware of that. Closer to the city, very heavy rain. Torrential downpours in DeKalb County up through Gwinnett County. The heavy rain is now lifting north of the city from Roswell to Johns Creek to Big Creek as well. It is raining very heavily, and really all of North Georgia is now seeing rain. The center of the storm is actually down here. So as the center moves in, the rain will actually be to the north of it. In terms of rainfall rates and potential rain, this is the rainfall actual totals over the last 24 hours. I want to zoom in and talk about some major cities that could be seeing some flash flooding. Look at this. Conyers and Rockdale County, 3.5 inches of rain since midnight. Yeah, if you live in Rockdale County, flash flooding, the roadways that Rob was just talking about, likely flooded. McDonough, Henry County, 2 inches of rain. As far as Peachtree City and Noonan goes, Coweta County, it's been raining very heavily all morning, between 2 and 3 inches of rain. Definitely some problems, probably I-85 southbound. In terms of north of the city, where the rain is the heaviest right now, flash flooding is less likely at this point because the rain just picked up there. Less than an inch of rain in Marietta, about an inch in Lawrenceville, just over an inch in Atlanta. We just checked in with Rebecca. If the Krog Street Tunnel isn't flooded, it's likely that most of the roadways inside the perimeter are good to go. But again, that very heavy rain is really coming down now inside of the perimeter. In addition to that, even though the wind advisory was canceled, we're going to continue to see pretty breezy conditions through the afternoon as the ground gets more saturated with this heavy rain. A breeze gusting 30, 40 miles per hour could definitely bring down some trees. So that's still going to be a threat today, even as the rain moves out. It will continue through around noon. That's where we will see the highest potential for flash flooding over the next 3 or 4 hours. The rain will then taper and we should eventually dry out by around 6 or 7 p.m. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. Again, by noon, it's still raining pretty heavily from Atlanta and Metro, very heavy up into the mountains. The low pressure and what's left of the storm system will cross into North Carolina, move out of our area by around 6 or 7 p.m., and we should dry out from there after. So we only have about 3 or 4 more hours where we could see really bad conditions. This is the new updated rainfall totals. You can see the focus for the most rain will be up into the mountains and northwest of the city. This is where flash flooding is the most likely over the coming 2 or 3 hours. We will have much more on this storm system. Again, we have all hands on deck to keep you safe through the morning, but the big story is not only the weather, it's the roads. I do want to give it over to Rodney. Are we doing? Yes.
Yeah, our breaking traffic alert continues, Ella. We have 2 new issues to tell you about here for those of you in Cobb County this morning. So first of all, we're going to get you to downtown Atlanta. This is specifically the connector, I-75-85 southbound, right around I-20. That's what you see right toward the middle of your screen, the tail lights. Some huge delays here as you were leaving Midtown Atlanta. You're leaving downtown Atlanta. You're headed toward the south side of town. You're definitely going to have to come to nearly a stop here because of a crash. So again, that is the connector southbound right around I-20 as you're leaving downtown Atlanta. And if you look carefully on the left-hand side of your screen, your northbound traffic isn't really better. So a heads up again in downtown. Also, we are in Cobb County this morning. This is brand new. This is I-75 southbound at 575. So for those of you coming out of Cherokee County, North Cobb County, you're headed toward Kennesaw, headed toward Marietta, the left-hand side of your screen, that is your southbound traffic. We have a crash there that's also going to slow you down. So the 2 biggest issues are in downtown Atlanta and in North Cobb County. But what we'll do is, since we're not on a time limit, we'll take you county by county to give you a complete look at what you can expect here if you do have to get out on the roads. We've been encouraging people not to get on the roads because of the heavy rain and the continued threat of isolated tornadoes. But as you can see in those cameras, people are clearly, getting on the roads and doing what they have to do. So if you do have to get out this morning, again, Cobb County first, I-75 south at 575 is the biggest issue. Everybody else is in good shape. So as you leave Marietta this morning, as you leave Smyrna, you're hopping on 75 south. You have no issues there. If you're in Vinings this morning in Cobb County, 285 is also looking good. Now we'll slide over to North Fulton County and focus on 400. You're seeing some rain here. So if you have to hop on 400 in Alpharetta or Roswell, you will definitely see some rain. But as you go southbound towards Sandy Springs, you have no crashes to worry about. 285 is also in good shape on the top end of the perimeter. As we slide over to Gwinnett County, again, rain is definitely the story on 85 and 316, but no major crashes on those interstates. So if you are going to get out and about in Gwinnett, you are in good shape. DeKalb County, similar story here. I'm going to zoom in to DeKalb County because I am seeing some delays. It's the red that you see on the pinpoint traffic map leaving the Clarkston area. Actually, this is headed toward Clarkston. So 285 northbound as you go into Clarkston, you will have to slow down. I'm not showing a crash here, so this is probably, Gavir and Rob, people slowing down just because of the rain. You can see there's moderate to heavy rain in the area right now. So if you do have to get on 285 northbound toward Clarkston, headed towards 78, you will have to slow down in DeKalb County. It looks like that's the only real problem in DeKalb. For those of you in Lithonia this morning, as you go westbound on I-20, you look to be in good shape. Some minor delays, but that's actually normal for this time of the day for you. I do want to zoom in here on 285 westbound at Boulder Crest Road. This was a crash earlier this morning. Also, Gavir and Rob, I got a report of some flooding on the road here. Again, that's 285 westbound at Boulder Crest Road in DeKalb County, headed toward Atlanta Airport. A heads up to you this morning. Clayton County, we'll check in on you. So Ella mentioned this earlier. We've got a minute and a half, Ella. Thank
okay.
you.
Sorry.
Thank you, producer Ella, as I were. So Clayton County, and what I was saying before is, as Ella mentioned, a lot of the heavier rain is moving out of Clayton County and out of Henry County. So at least you don't have to worry so much about the rain, but you do have some slowdown as you take 75 northbound right before 285 in Clayton County around the Forest Parkway area. So it heads up to you. And then in Henry County, you are in good shape. It looks like you have really no delays as you hop on 75, whether you're in Locust Grove, McDonough, or Stockbridge.
One of the other things you really got to watch out for is down power lines, because there's a lot
Right.
of power outages across our area. We just got some updated numbers. We have about 5,000 people, these are Georgia Power customers, that don't have any power in our viewing area. And that number is 8,000 across the state. And those numbers are kind of shifting and changing as we get that information in. Certainly as daylight has approached, we now will be able to better assess exactly what the damage is from Fred. We are going to take a break from Facebook Live because we do have to go to regular television to do a cut-in.
This is CBS 46 News.
Hey, good morning. I'm Rob Hughes. It is 7:26. We, of course, have been in storm mode team coverage all morning long. We'll send it over to meteorologist Ella Dorsey with the very latest.
We are under a tornado watch until 1 p.m. This includes all of metro areas east and south. We've seen brief spin-up tornadoes all morning, so that's going to be what we watch for over the course of the next several hours. The radar map is completely lit up. Widespread heavy rain from Atlanta and metro all the way down to the south. That's going to be the story at least over the next couple of hours. You can see it's now ended for South Georgia, so we have at least 2 or 3 more hours. And this outer band right here is the band that we're watching to spawn tornadoes. So if you live east of Atlanta, there's a chance of those brief tornadoes in the next couple of hours, all due to Tropical Depression Fred, the center of that, now moving into our area. The good news is the wind advisory has been canceled. The bad news is the rain is going to continue at least through the early afternoon. Widespread flash flooding is possible from Atlanta and metro up to the north, with 2 to even 4 inches of rain likely. We'll see clearing skies tonight, and we actually will dry out quite a bit tomorrow before scattered thunderstorms move back in. We're in storm mode. We'll have all hands on deck all day to keep you safe. Rodney.
This is the connector. It's I-75, 85 southbound, right around I-20. Seeing some delays as you go southbound, leaving downtown Atlanta, headed toward the south side of town, so a heads up to you there. Also, major delays building in North Cobb County. This is I-75, right around 575 as you go southbound there. That's the left-hand side of your screen. A crash will slow you down, so a heads up for those of you. Even in Cherokee County, as you get on 575 going south, once you hit 75, you will have to slow down. Most of everybody else is looking good, but as Ella mentioned, we'll keep you up to date on the roads and your forecast. And our storm mode coverage continues on CBS46.com.
Hmm.
We're just about done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are still in storm mode team coverage this morning. As you can see, there's a wide impact of Tropical Depression Fred now moving through metro Atlanta.
Yeah, Rodney just said, hey, the good news is that for us in the metro area, things are looking a whole lot better. Not the same scenario over in Meriwether County. They had quite a bit of damage there from a confirmed tornado, and our Trayson Bragg's been out there this morning. Trayson, you know, now we got daylight. What can you show us and tell us about what's happening? Okay, so we got an issue with his with his shot. Sabrina Silva's also
Yes.
in Meriwether County, which is good for us. And so let's head over to her.
Yeah, I'm just a few minutes away from Trayson here, and rain is still coming down heavy where we are. We're actually in Luthersville, and here's the thing. When you were watching our broadcast earlier today, you saw a tree down on this road. It's Coleman Creek Circle, and crews were out here working on it all morning. They've been able to remove it since. It hasn't caused much damage, but this is a story everywhere across the metro, right? You're going to be seeing debris in various different parts of our metro area. But here's one thing that I wanted to mention here. And Gino, if you can move over to where I am standing here. These trees, when we were covering other storms, I did have an arborist tell me that it is not good when you see all of these leaves blocking the tree trunks. He says that because of that, they don't get much sun. So this can make it very easy for them to not have enough nutrition, and so they can come on down. And these are the trees you should be worried about if you have them in your front yard, your backyard, because you don't want your tree to fall down on your home, right? Which we haven't heard of yet here. This is the only tree down that we've seen in this roadway. I did walk down to see if there was any damage past that, but I did not see it. However, you are seeing it right now. Rain is coming down a little heavy here. It's not too crazy, but you do need to be careful out there on the roads if you are commuting this morning. And we will continue to bring you updates throughout the day here from Meriwether County. And of course, Trayson will bring it to you from where he's at. But Robin Gavir, I'm going to toss it back to you as we continue to learn more on what's going on here.
Yeah, you can certainly hear the rain on your shot, Sabrina, more so than maybe even a couple of our other shots. So the rain is still coming down across our area. And Trayson, we tried to toss to him just a second ago. You know, it is very wet out there. So when you get wet equipment, sometimes it fails you. But certainly, Trayson, we can see in your shot, there's a lot of debris there.
That's right, Rob. I mean, we were just seconds away from going live and we lost the shot, but we're back up now. Rain still here. As Sabrina said, I'm still on Charlie Fuller Road here in Meriwether County. And take a look. Look at this large branch, right? This is just a closer look at some of the damage we've seen here as a tornado made its way through this, or right across this street, I'll say, at about 5 this morning. If you're wondering where that large branch came from, take a look. Look at that large tree just snapped in half. Just proof of the tornado that made its way through this area. Now, we don't know how strong that tornado was yet, but we have another large branch over there as well. Large, I mean, huge tree that is snapped in half here. We have a smaller tree, I should say a skinnier tree, that actually fell just over my right shoulder here, and I've been mentioning that it fell on the power line. We're going to work to get closer to that tree in a bit so we can get you a closer look of that. But luckily it didn't snap this power line again, but this is just proof of the damage that we've seen here as a tornado made its way through here this morning. And again, luckily, neither of these trees are close enough to a home to cause any damage. And you heard Sabrina talking about nutrients and about trees falling. Again, luckily, we haven't had any reports of that in this neighborhood. And that's doubly lucky considering that a tornado made its way through here. So we're going to continue to track the damage here. Again, the rain is picking back up now. It seems like it's not stopping anytime soon here. But again, we're going to continue to get you updates from this section of Meriwether County. This is Charlie Fuller Road. And please drive safely out there. Reporting live, I'm Trayson Brack, CBS 46.
Trayson, you're working with Eric Sander today, right? You and Eric together. So did y'all have any trouble navigating the roads, you know, back over that way? Did you run into any issues out there on the roads, either with down lines, flooding, or some of those tree branches?
You know, I'll tell you, we were pretty lucky. We didn't get a ton of damage, but I will give you a funny story. I mean, you know, I'm from California, right? And we were headed this way after we got the report of a tornado. And as I'm driving, I mean, we're rushing, trying to get over here safely, of course. But we're in the middle. I mean, we can't see anything. It's pitch dark out here. And then both of my phones, my work phone and my personal phone, start lighting up talking about tornado warnings. And I tell you, this California boy was worried because we couldn't tell where we were.
Right.
But luckily, we made it here safely. No down power lines, just a bit of debris, which you see behind us. And again, luckily, no reports of injuries. I mean, considering a tornado passed through here, that is great news, and it's lucky news, and so we're grateful for that news, Gavir.
Oh, absolutely, and I know y'all are going to kind of scour around and see what the situation is in some other areas over there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the main takeaway, right? Is this, it could always have been
exactly.
worse. I think we should consider ourselves fortunate that considering, that T word moving through there, that we
Right.
just see, leaves and debris on the road there rather than something more serious, as we've covered even in recent months.
And if I were in California, Trayson, if you're still listening, and I heard an earthquake, I think I'd be feeling the same way you're feeling about a tornado
It's all
here.
about
He's
what you're
used to that, right?
I think it's important, though, and I think how Trayson approaches it is probably a better way to handle it than maybe people who are more familiar with it. We do
Right.
see this if you grew up in this area or areas where there are serious storms, remnants of hurricanes, tropical storms, tornadoes, Midwest. Obviously, that's an issue where I'm from.
Yep.
You become a little more desensitized to it, but it's
Right.
certainly something to take seriously every time it happens.
Yep. And one of the things that we always deal with, closer in is flooding, street flooding. And Krog
Right.
Street Tunnel, that's been a big issue for quite some time.
Yeah, and Rebecca Schramm is there. Rebecca, what are you seeing right now? It seems like cars have moved through there without much of an issue all morning.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad, Robin Gravier. We are just east of downtown Atlanta, and look at this. The sky is kind of clearing up. We've got a lull in the rain right now. I can draw your attention over there to that storm drain, which just probably a couple minutes ago was had water gushing into it. But I tell you, they've done a really good job with these storm drains, making sure to keep them clear and keep the debris away so that we don't have the type of street flooding that we sometimes have. And as you look over here at Krog Street Tunnel, this is an area that definitely floods from time to time. If the storm drains are not clear, you'll have people who can't get through here because of the standing water in the tunnel. So we've been in touch with the folks at Watershed Management in Atlanta and in all the counties, Cobb, Gwinnett, DeKalb, Fulton, making sure that they've got a handle on all of this as the storm comes through. But yeah, looks clear, looks good so far, and we're watching because we know the rain is not finished yet, but at least for now, it has quieted a little bit here east of Atlanta. Reporting live, I'm Rebecca Schramm, back to you guys.
Good news, but Rebecca said we know the rain's not over yet, right?
Well, just look behind us. I mean, you can see how many different areas of the metro are impacted by this, some more seriously than others, obviously with tornadoes touching down, and others just seeing heavy rain. Of course, meteorologist Ella Dorsey's been tracking it all. Ella.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you two different cameras. One of them is Lake Lanier, where it is absolutely pouring down rain. The other one is downtown, which just around 5 or 10 minutes ago, you could not see the city skyline. Now you can. So actually visibility is getting a little bit better downtown. You can see, though, north of the city, Marietta, Norcross, North Fulton, that's where visibility is way down because of the heaviest of the rain, which again is really now to the north of the city, but still encompassing pretty much all of Metro Atlanta down to Putnam County. Very heavy rain is falling in the Eatonton area. Newton, Walton, Morgan County up through Athens, Clark County, very heavy rain. And then this is what I'm talking about, really from downtown through Buckhead, up through Alpharetta, Roswell, Cobb County, Cherokee County. I mean, should I just name all of the counties in North Fulton because they're all seeing heavy rain now extending into the mountains area. So if you can avoid being on the road over the next couple of hours, good idea to do so. By this afternoon, we will see the rain start to taper off. But until then, again, it is going to be pretty treacherous on the roadways, at least for the next 3-4 hours. In addition to that, there is a tornado watch out until 1 p.m. for Atlanta and metro areas east. And I expect them to extend this warning up into the mountains here in the next few hours. Flash flood risk will be the highest from Atlanta and metro and up areas to the north, about a 30 to 40% chance for flash flooding. This includes Roswell, this includes Marietta, this includes Alpharetta, Johns Creek, Cumming, Forsyth County, Gainesville, and then up into the foothills of the mountains. So there is a flash flood watch out today. Again, for Metro Atlanta, the brief tornadoes are likely through midday and the heavy rain will taper after 1 p.m. By the time you are wrapping up your day today, it should be mostly dry and we will dry out overnight. Guess what, guys? In addition to Fred, we have Grace. Grace is now a tropical storm. It will cross just north of Jamaica today. It is going to impact the Yucatan Peninsula, areas like Tulum, areas like Cancun, possibly as a hurricane or a very strong tropical storm late tomorrow night. It then crosses back into the southern Gulf of Mexico and impacts Mexico through the weekend this weekend. So no impact locally from that storm. In addition to that, we have Tropical Storm Henry, which is kind of near Bermuda, out in the middle of the Atlantic. It looks like it's going to become a strong tropical storm, but it looks like it's going to stay at sea, again, not impacting the United States. Rodney made this graphic. It's really telling, okay? We see a huge uptick in the tropical activity through the month of August. 24% of all named storms form this month. It peaks next month, which is when a third of all named storms form. So it's pretty normal for this time of year for us to see this like big uptick in storms, right? And it looks like we have about 4 or 5 more weeks of the worst of the season. So once again, this is not uncommon to have 3 storms at the same time. We've only had 1 hurricane, by the way, this year. Most of them have not been strong. So we will be watching for that. Fred going to impact us at least until the middle of the afternoon, and then we will see gradually bettering conditions. Let's check in on the roadways. Major impacts on the roads this morning. Rodney, what's going on?
Yeah, Ellen, before we even get there, I kind of want to pick up on what you were talking about with the increase in tropical activity. We're kind of getting into the peak of the hurricane season because this is when all of the conditions kind of come together. You have the very warm air, not only in the Gulf, but also in the Atlantic. We also have a lot of waves that start to come off the coast of Africa. In fact, this is how this started. Multiple waves come off the coast of Africa. Eventually, they make their way into the Caribbean and maybe even into the United States. And this is also the time of the year, kind of the peak of the summertime, when we usually see what we call lowering wind shear, which is something that allows these tropical systems to develop. So as all those ingredients come together, that usually starts to happen in August and September. And then after September, things start to cool off a little bit, and that's why things start to die down during hurricane season. So now as we switch to traffic, the left-hand side of your screen, this is Cobb County. This is I-75 southbound at 575, where we are still seeing some delays because of a crash here. So if you are in Ackworth or Kennesaw, a heads up as you're going southbound into Marietta, you are going to have to slow down there because of that particular crash. This is in DeKalb County, really impacting Gwinnett County too. I-85 southbound at Pleasantdale Road. We have some small delays here because of what was a crash. So heads up in Gwinnett County, and then finally, Gwinnett and DeKalb County. And then finally, this is DeKalb County, 285 northbound, really going into Clarkston around Memorial Drive, also going into the Lawrenceville Highway area. You're going to have to briefly slow down. I think that's just your normal traffic. We don't have a crash there. That's just your normal volume of traffic for this time of the morning. So CBS 46's Izmir Payton has been in the Coolray Road Tracker all morning long. We were talking about a crash, Izmir, on the connector southbound earlier that was producing some pretty significant delays. I believe that's where you are. Can you tell us what's going on there?
Yeah, good morning, Rodney. I'm on the connector southbound right at the Grady curve here, and definitely seeing some significant delays. The weather has let up just a little bit in the last couple of minutes, so you can see a little bit better. Off to the right-hand side, you can check out this carnage. That's the back end of that car that's completely blown up. That's off to the side of the road here. So I've definitely some slow going. There's something going on my left-hand side of the screen here as I'm trying to make my way back into traffic. Again, I'm just before I-20 on the southbound connector, and we've seen slowdowns here. There was an incident over on my left-hand side of the screen that looked like there was a fender bender of some sort, and they had to make their way over to the right. A lot of this going on this morning. I'd say, keep it slow and steady would be the way to go this morning. And that's a quick look from the Coolray Road Tracker. Back to you, Rodney.
Yeah, and Izmir, I have one more question for you before we let you go, because Izmir has actually been driving all morning in this. So you've really been in what was Tropical Storm Fred, now Tropical Depression Fred. But how can you describe, Izmir, your experience being in the Road Tracker all morning long for this?
Honestly, Rodney, a little bit frightening. The rain was coming down really heavy at some points in the metro areas. I made my way around the perimeter and up and down 75 and 85, really coming down at blinding rates. The spray, the amount of water that was on the roadway, and as you see this car cutting me off here, the spray that comes up when other cars pass you, when the big semis pass you, can also be blinding at times. So it was definitely a little bit harrowing, and something again, as I said, slow and steady earlier, definitely the way to go, because there have been a number of single car collisions that I've seen, cars that have spun off the road, run into a guardrail or run into a Jersey wall, and that's just not how you want to start your day. So again, as we come up on a vehicle on our right hand side, not sure if it's spun out or what, but there it is in distress over on the side of the road. So definitely not a good situation. I would advise everyone to just keep it slow, be safe, and get to your destination.
All right, thank you so much, Izmir and Rob Gavir. We will, of course, keep you up to date on these roads throughout the morning as Fred continues to move through.
Yep, and we're going to be keeping you track of what's happening throughout the morning, not only on our social media pages, but also on the air.
Right, through cut-ins on CBS this morning and for CBS 46 News at noon. Thanks for watching our Storm Mode team coverage. Have a great day.
Rather for sure get to go to a show than plan on one that we might not make.
Oh, for what? For fuck. Yeah.
Doesn't change anything. They're coming regardless, so if I have it off, I have it off. I don't have it off, I don't have it off. I did talk to Brian last time we spoke because that's
Yeah, and for Atlanta, the worst is there's still going to be rain. East of here is where we still have to watch for this. Ella just showed me about 5 minutes